a heartfelt welcome to you. Our conversation today will be about how to regain vitality and joy without resorting to heroic efforts or strict limitations. Does this feeling sound familiar? When the phone rings in the evening, especially after 8, it makes your heart give an unpleasant jolt. It's like an uninvited guest bursting into your well-deserved peace just when you've settled down to relax, have a quiet chat with loved ones, or immerse yourself in your favorite book. In our youth, we could switch gears easily, but as the years go by, our nervous system becomes wiser, yet also more sensitive. A late call, even the most harmless one, can become the very pebble that triggers an avalanche of anxiety. It abruptly pulls us out of a state of relaxation, stimulating the production of stress hormones, cortisol and adrenaline, precisely when the body is preparing for nightly restoration, for the production of melatonin, our natural sleep aid. It's like splashing ice water on smoldering embers in the fireplace. Instead of warmth and coziness, you get hissing and smoke. And who are these villains stealing our evening peace and morning energy? They aren't some exotic foods, no. It's our own habit of being available 24/7, that internal belief that we must answer immediately, and of course, the very nature of late calls, which often carry a hint of urgency or worry. But imagine quiet, peaceful evenings when the phone is silent and you are the master of your own time and mood. Imagine falling asleep more easily, sleeping more deeply, and waking up not with a sense of anxiety, but with a feeling of freshness and strength. I promise that the simple steps we'll discuss today will help you achieve exactly that. No complicated diets or exhausting exercises, just one simple decision that will change how you feel. Stay with me until the end, and you'll discover how this small step can become your key to great inner comfort. 1. Protecting evening tranquility. So, the first and perhaps most crucial step is deciding to consciously protect your evening tranquility. What does this mean in practice? It means stopping answering phone calls after a certain hour, say, after 8 in the evening. Simply let the phone stay silent. Does that sound simple? Maybe even daring? I understand. Let me tell you the story of Margaret, 72 years old. Margaret had always been the life of the party, her home bustling with activity, her phone ringing day and night. She was used to being in the know, participating, advising. But she noticed that evening calls, even from beloved grandchildren or friends, started to exhaust her. Just as she'd settle down with her knitting under a cozy blanket, soft music playing, a sharp ring would shatter the peace. Her heart would pound, her thoughts scatter. She felt like a tightly wound string. Initially, the idea of not answering seemed unthinkable. What if it's something important? What will people think? Will they consider me rude or indifferent? This inner discomfort, the fear of judgment, was very strong. But fatigue and constant tension took their toll. She decided to experiment. After 8 p.m., silence. The first few evenings felt strange. Her hand instinctively reached for the phone when it rang. There was guilt, anxiety. But then came an amazing feeling. Silence stopped being frightening. It became healing. Her evenings filled with peace. Margaret could once again immerse herself in her favorite activities without anticipating an invasion. Do you know what happened on a physiological level? Her nervous system received a signal. There's no danger, you can relax. Instead of the stressful fight or flight mode, the rest and digest, or rest and recover mode, kicked in. It's like walking against a strong wind for a long time, and then suddenly stepping into a quiet, windless place. Psychologically, she regained control over her time and space. Her evening ceased to be a thoroughfare for others' affairs and emotions. It became her personal, cozy harbor. Imagine your evening as a quiet, warm home. A late call is like a sudden draft that bursts in and blows out all the warmth. By closing the door to late calls, you keep that precious warmth inside. The benefit for you? You'll feel the evening tension melt away, your shoulders relax, and your thoughts become calmer. You'll once again be able to enjoy simple pleasures, a book, a movie, silence, without flinching at every sound. Your evening will become a time for restoration, not a continuation of the day's hustle. Remember, your peace is not selfishness. It's necessary self-care. 2. Improving sleep quality. Now, let's talk about sleep. You'll agree, good sleep is the foundation of everything. our mood, energy, health. And what happens when the phone rings late in the evening? Even if it's a pleasant conversation with children or an old friend, it still stimulates our brain. It makes us think, analyze, react emotionally. It's like drinking a strong cup of coffee before bed. It perks you up, but falling asleep afterward is very difficult. Here's the story of Arthur, 68 years old. Arthur loved his evening chats with his daughter, who lived in another city. They could talk for hours. But after these conversations, even the warmest ones, he struggled to fall asleep. He'd replay details of the conversation in his head, remember things, make plans. His brain was overstimulated. In the morning, he'd wake up feeling shattered, as if he hadn't slept at all. Initially, he didn't even connect this to the evening calls. So we talked. What's the big deal? He thought. He felt that refusing these calls would mean offending his daughter, showing her she wasn't important to him. But when his wife gently pointed out the connection, he thought about it. He decided to try. He asked his daughter to call earlier or arranged to talk on weekend afternoons. And after 8 p.m., he put his phone on silent mode. What changed? He noticed the difference almost immediately. It became easier to relax in the evening. His thoughts settled down faster. He started falling asleep much more easily, and most importantly, sleeping more deeply. Physiologically, it's all explainable. Our brain prepares for sleep by reducing activity and starting to produce melatonin, the sleep hormone. The bright light from the phone screen, if you look to see who's calling, the emotional engagement in the conversation, these are all signals to the brain. It's too early to sleep. Stay awake. It's like trying to put a child to sleep while simultaneously showing them cartoons and giving them candy. Psychologically, avoiding late calls allows the brain to conduct an evening cleanup, letting go of the day's worries, stopping the rumination on information. Imagine your brain as a busy office at the end of the workday. For everyone to go home and rest, you need to turn off the computers, switch off the lights, lock the doors. A late call is like the boss suddenly bursting into the empty office, demanding an urgent report. The entire closing down process is disrupted. What's the benefit for you? You'll start falling asleep faster, and your sleep will become deeper and more uninterrupted. You'll wake up in the morning feeling refreshed and rested, not like you've been unloading freight cars all night. You'll have more energy during the day, improved concentration, and a better mood. Remember, good sleep isn't a luxury. It's the foundation of your health and longevity. 3. Reclaiming personal time. Let's be honest. How much time in our lives have we dedicated to others? Work, children, grandchildren, community affairs, and that's wonderful. But there comes a time when you want to dedicate evening hours to yourself, to your hobbies, your thoughts, or simply to silence. However, constant phone availability subtly steals this personal time. Even if there are no calls, the mere anticipation of a call, the thought that someone might ring at any moment, prevents you from fully relaxing and immersing yourself in what interests you. Consider Eleanor, 75 years old. She had always been a very responsible woman. She felt it her duty to be available for her adult children and elderly sister. Her evenings were spent in a state of semi-anticipation. She couldn't fully lose herself in an interesting detective novel or concentrate on a complex embroidery pattern. The phone lay nearby like a watchdog, ready to bark at any moment. She felt an internal conflict. On one hand, the desire to help and be needed. On the other, growing irritation that her own time didn't seem to belong to her. It felt selfish even to think about not answering. But one day, after a particularly chaotic evening when she was interrupted 3 times from her favorite activity for trivial matters, she felt enough is enough. She made a decision. After 8 p.m., it was her time. Not immediately, but gradually, she learned to silence the phone and not check it until morning. And guess what happened? She rediscovered the joy of uninterrupted, peaceful evenings. She took out her watercolor paints again, long forgotten. She read books avidly, without distraction. A feeling emerged of being the master of her own life, her own time. Psychologically, this is very important. When you consciously set aside time for yourself and protect it, you send a signal to your subconscious. I am important. My needs matter. This strengthens feelings of self-worth and autonomy. It allows a shift from superficial, interrupted activities to what psychologists call deep leisure, full immersion in activities that bring joy and satisfaction. Imagine your personal time as a garden you cultivate with love. For beautiful flowers to bloom and fruits to ripen, it needs care, attention, and protection from weeds. Late calls demanding your attention are those very weeds, draining energy and resources from your flowers. By setting a boundary, you are simply protecting your garden. The benefit for you? Your evenings will become richer and more meaningful. You'll be able to return to forgotten hobbies or discover new ones. The feeling of being harried and irritated will fade. You'll feel less like just a fulfiller of others' requests and more like a person with your own interesting and valuable life. Your time is your most precious, irreplaceable resource. Use it joyfully for yourself. 4. Reducing evening anxiety. Anxiety. That unpleasant, sticky feeling that can cloud the most beautiful evening. And unfortunately, late phone calls often become its trigger. Why? Perhaps there was a past experience where a late call brought bad news. Or maybe, simply with age, we become more sensitive to any surprises. In any case, the sound of the phone after a designated witching hour can set off a whole chain of anxious thoughts. What happened? Who could it be? It must be something urgent. Listen to the story of David, 70 years old. A few years ago, he received a late-night call informing him of a close relative's illness. That experience left a deep scar. Now, every late call provoked an almost panic reaction in him. His heart would start pounding wildly, his palms would sweat, and the darkest scenarios would flash through his mind. Even if it was just an acquaintance calling about something minor, the anxious aftertaste lingered, making it hard to sleep. He lived in constant fear of missing something truly important, but this vigilance cost him immense nervous strain. He was torn between the fear of missing a call and the fear of the call itself. One day, his doctor, after hearing his complaints about poor sleep and constant worry, suggested simply turning off his phone at night. David initially reacted defensively. What if there's a real emergency? But then he thought, if something truly serious happens, they'll find a way to reach me. They'll call several times, leave a message, contact the neighbors. He decided to try it. Forcing himself, he started silencing his phone after 8 p.m. The first few nights were anxious. He kept listening for vibrations, but then came immense relief. Silence stopped being a harbinger of bad news. It became synonymous with safety. Physiologically, by avoiding the trigger, the late call, David stopped initiating the cascade of stress hormones before bed. His nervous system got a break. Psychologically, he broke the vicious cycle of call, anxiety, anticipation of call, anxiety. He consciously chose to trust the world and the morning. He decided that most problems could wait until morning, and those that couldn't would find him even without a late-night call. Imagine anxiety as a shadow. In the darkness and silence of the evening, any small uncertainty, like an unanswered call, can cast a huge, frightening shadow. By turning off the phone, you simply prevent that shadow from appearing. You choose the light of tranquility. What's the benefit for you? A significant reduction in evening anxiety levels. You'll stop flinching at every sound. You'll be able to relax and feel safe in your own home. Your sleep will become calmer, and your mornings kinder. You deserve evenings free from imagined fears and unnecessary worries. 5. Strengthening boundaries and self-respect. We've talked about peace, sleep, time, anxiety. But there's one more very important aspect. The decision not to answer late calls is a powerful act of setting personal boundaries. And setting boundaries is a direct manifestation of self-respect. It's a signal you send to both yourself and others. My time, my peace, my well-being matter. Remember Susan, 65 years old. She had always been the dependable one, the person who could never say no, the go-to person for her entire family and circle of friends. They could call her any time, day or night, for a favor, advice, or just to chat. She felt needed, but simultaneously completely drained and often underappreciated, as if her time and energy were a public resource everyone could use at will. The thought of setting a boundary, of saying no to late calls, terrified her. They'll think I'm selfish. They'll be offended. I'll lose their goodwill. These fears kept her trapped in her familiar but exhausting role for a long time. The turning point came during a conversation with a therapist who helped her see the situation from a different angle. she realized that self-care isn't selfishness, it's a necessity, and that true relationships are built on mutual respect, not on one party's constant availability. With great difficulty, overcoming internal resistance, Susan began implementing the after 8 p.m. silence rule. Initially, there were puzzled questions. Why didn't you answer yesterday? Calmly, without making excuses, she explained that she was trying to go to bed earlier and needed quiet evenings to recharge. Not everyone accepted it immediately, but over time, her boundaries began to be respected. And most importantly, she started respecting herself more. She felt stronger, more confident, the master of her own life. Psychologically, setting boundaries is a fundamental step towards healthy self-esteem. When you clearly define what is acceptable to you and what is not, you assert your value. You stop being merely a function for others and become an individual with your own needs. This doesn't mean walling yourself off from the world. It means building a reasonable, flexible fence around your inner courtyard to protect what is precious to you. Imagine yourself as a hospitable homeowner. You welcome guests, but that doesn't mean they can burst in without knocking in the middle of the night, right? Establishing the do not disturb after 8 p.m. boundary is simply a polite sign on your door. Please visit at a reasonable hour. The benefit for you, an increase in self-respect and confidence. You'll feel like a more whole person, not just a set of functions to meet others' needs. Your relationships with loved ones might even improve, becoming more honest and respectful. You'll learn to conserve your energy and direct it towards what truly matters to you. Respecting yourself is the first step towards being respected by others. 6. How to communicate the changes and cope with guilt. Okay, you might say, the idea is clear and appealing. But how do I actually do it? How do I tell my loved ones without offending them? And how do I cope with my own feelings of guilt or anxiety, especially at the beginning? These are very important questions. Let's break it down. Firstly, it's crucial to understand you have every right to rest and personal time. It's not a privilege, but a basic need, especially important for maintaining health and well-being at our age. Remember George, 71? He was terrified of offending his only daughter, who was used to calling him every evening before bed. He hesitated for a long time to have that conversation. What helped him? He prepared. He thought through what he would say and how he would say it. He didn't accuse or complain. He simply and honestly explained, "Darling, I've noticed I haven't been sleeping well, and the doctor advised me to get more rest in the evenings. So, I've decided to put my phone on silent after 8 p.m. to wind down peacefully for sleep. I truly love our talks. Let's try to chat a bit earlier, or I'll definitely call you back in the morning as soon as I see the missed call. If there's a real emergency, you can always send a text. I'll be sure to check in the morning." He spoke about his needs and his well-being, not about his daughter bothering him. His daughter was a little surprised at first, but she understood and accepted his request. The key lies in gentle but firm communication. There's no need to apologize for taking care of yourself. Explain the reason, concern for sleep, health, need for quiet, and offer alternatives, calling earlier, texting, scheduling calls for other times. Most people who love you will understand and support you. And what about feelings of guilt or anxiety, like, what if I miss something important? Firstly, acknowledge these feelings. It's normal to experience them when changing established routines. Secondly, rationalize. How often do real nighttime emergencies requiring your immediate intervention actually happen? Most likely, extremely rarely. And as we've discussed, in a truly urgent situation, a way to contact you will be found. Thirdly, create a safety net if it makes you feel calmer. For example, agree with your closest person, spouse, child, neighbor, that if something is extremely urgent, they should call multiple times in a row or use a prearranged signal. This can soothe your anxiety. Imagine you're learning to swim. At first, it's scary to let go of the pool edge. You feel uncertain, maybe even guilty for taking up a lane. But gradually, with each stroke, confidence grows. You realize the water supports you, that you can do it. It's the same with setting boundaries. The first steps might feel awkward, but with each peaceful evening, your confidence will grow. The benefit for you? You'll gain practical tools to implement this beneficial habit without unnecessary stress. You'll be able to free yourself from guilt and anxiety by understanding that self-care is normal and right. You'll make this transition to calmer evenings as comfortable as possible for both yourself and your loved ones. Remember, communicating your needs is a sign of maturity and strength, not weakness. So, we've explored 5 compelling reasons why you should gift yourself quiet evenings, free from phone calls after 8. This isn't just a whim or a desire to shut yourself off from the world. It's a conscious step towards better well-being, deeper sleep, peace of mind, and self-respect. We talked about protecting your personal space, the importance of quality sleep for restoration, reclaiming precious time for yourself, reducing evening anxiety, and, of course, strengthening self-respect through setting healthy boundaries. You've lived a long, rich life, accumulating wisdom and experience. And you, more than anyone, have earned the right to peace and harmony, especially during the evening hours. Allow yourself this small, yet oh so important luxury: silence. Perhaps it will feel unfamiliar at first. Perhaps you'll need to gently, but persistently, explain your new rules to loved ones. But believe me, the result is worth it. You'll feel your energy return, your mood improve, and life sparkle with vibrant colors again. Don't be afraid of change, especially changes that lead to your well-being. You deserve the very best: peaceful evenings, sound sleep, and joyful awakenings. Take this step for yourself, and you'll see how much it can change. Remember, self-care isn't selfishness. It's your strength and your right. Be healthy and take care.